You're listening to the ADHD Support Talk Radio podcast. ADHD Support Talk is brought to you by addclasses.com. Visit www.addclasses.com and sign up for free webinars and online events today. Hello, welcome back to ADHD Support Talk Radio. I'm your co-host, Lynne Edris, and as a productivity coach, I help overwhelmed professionals reduce procrastination, improve time management, and get more done with less effort so that they have more time and more energy and more bandwidth for what matters most to them. I'm a woman with ADHD myself, so I've been where so many of my clients are, and I've come out the other side, so to speak. I've gone from living in a constant state of chaos and overwhelm and underperformance that we all know far too well to live a life of more success and fulfillment than I once dreamed was possible. And I truly believe that every single one of you can achieve your own version of success as well. You can learn more about me and what I do and the programs and services I offer at www.coachingadvantages.com. And if you'd like to get my 7 foolproof productivity hacks to help you add hours of free time to your weeks by investing just a few smart minutes each day, you can either sign up on my website or you can text the keyword hack, H-A-C-K, to the number 33777, and I'll get those hacks out to you right away. Today I have with me Tommy Black, and we're going to talk about using technology to support and manage ADHD for adults. So welcome, Tommy.
Hi, thank you, Lynn. Thank you. That's quite a resume you have. This is going to be fun, I think, because I'm an adult with ADHD as well. So we might start chasing some butterflies today.
We might. Those are the best kind of interviews, I think, and they're probably the ones that our audience likes the most as well.
I'm jumping all over the place. So I appreciate you having me on, and I appreciate your audience and the opportunity to share the things that we do. I am a licensed professional counselor in Georgia and a licensed mental health counselor in Florida. Same thing, just different titles. I've been involved in working with individuals from basically birth to death with ADHD, trauma, and adjustment type issues. A lot of all of that kind of rolled into one. Educational stuff is where I started originally, but as we grow and develop through our lifespan, we move there. I am now moving into the technology piece, as you're talking about, and using and understanding and appreciating how we can use this technology that we all have, that we all carry with us, and we use every day in every other aspect of our life to use to help with ADHD symptomology and overall behavioral health, to improve our overall behavioral health. The company I've started and I'm CEO of, I'm co-founder and CEO is Esteem Therapeutics, and we can be found at chooseesteem.com. And I can be found we're also on Twitter and Facebook and all of that. It's Esteem Therapeutics. I have a Twitter at Tommy Esteem. And my email is tom.black@chooseesteem.com. But we basically understand and appreciate working in this. I think going through the life and process, as you have this podcast, you reach lots of different people. In my field, when I sit down with you, Lynn, it's me and you. Right. And I'm able to exact and work with you and make connections with you and help you navigate through all of this stuff. But my co-founders and I really struggled with the idea that we're not reaching the people that we really want to be reaching. Right. We wanted to be able to say we made a difference and we changed the world, and we were able to get to and connect with much broader audience. So initially I started out training people. Let me train you on how to do this stuff. And I did that for a couple of years, but it just didn't resonate with me, because I like the connection with the individuals, especially the ADHD individuals who, and if you have anxiety on top of it, then we might as well be family. And I don't know.
Right. So many of us do, right?
Right. I was talking about it this morning. We have to figure out if your anxiety is driving your inattention or your inattention is driving your anxiety. And that's a fun process. But we use this technology. We have smartphones that have greater technology in them than the stuff they sent to the moon, 30,
Absolutely.
50, I want to say 30 years ago, but 50, 60 years ago. And everywhere I go, I see people with these smartphones, and we use it to get cars, and we get it to have food delivered, and we get it to make appointments and follow up on things, and we stay connected to people, but we don't use it in behavioral health. and simple workflows that allow us to check boxes and send us reminders. And somebody told me today, I would have missed my appointment, but my phone sent me 2 reminders. So, and having those, we can set those things up and we have them, but we're not taking advantage of them. And that's why we decided to start chooseesteem.com or esteemtherapeutics.com, so that we could reach the population that needs it and put the stuff, show them how to use the things that are in their pockets every day to make their lives better, to alleviate a lot of that stress and a lot of that anxiety and a lot of that frustration. There's nothing worse in the world. Let me rephrase that. There's very few things in the world as bad as a 5-year-old who cannot stop getting in trouble and says he wants to die.
Yeah.
You know, and then we become adults. You know, most of those kids don't, but we become adults who carry that burden with us. I'm a screw up. I can never get it right.
Yep.
I'm constantly, but there's a certain level of validation to that it's just not true.
Right.
And when we can develop these communities like what you have and what other groups have, and then we can give them the simple tools that everyone has and just learn how to use those a few minutes a day, minutes a day. I don't have to sit down and try to, what we do though, you know this as ADHD people, we sit down and try to learn it all in one day.
Right. Of course.
So we spend 3 hours on it today.
At first. Right.
Yeah. And then tomorrow I can't remember any of it. What did I do yesterday?
Right. What's that thing? Right.
What's that?
What am I supposed
Lynne
to be focused on? Right.
Yeah. Lynne said something. I don't know what it was, but that's basically our foundation and where we came from, and kind of the genesis of what we're doing. And it really is driven by the fact that I have ADHD. My co-founders have ADHD. I have 17-year-old twins who have ADHD. And I have my twins, I have a boy and a girl. And it's interesting to see the different reactions, the different styles, and the way people respond to them differently because of the gender differences.
Yeah.
But putting it in a place where part of the problem is I can't remember whose teacher is doing what or what's due when or who I need to talk to, or do I need to talk to my doctor? I do need to follow up with their, all the different ways we're being pulled, and we're trying to keep up with all of that stuff. So having it in one place, we talked to somebody a couple of years ago, and he said, well, you didn't create an app, you created a super app. It has everything. If you want to work through helping yourself learn and track your financial management skills better, we got that. If you want to work on exercise and self-care, we got that. If you want to work on meditation, we got that. If you want to work on parenting skills, we got that. If you want to work on self-worth, we got that. Increased focus and attention, we got that. So it's all in that app, but segmented in a way that allows you to kind of pick and choose your own path. Because that's
work on the things that are most important to you. Because I always say, and I'm sure you can relate to this, especially having a boy and a girl of the same age, both with ADHD, like your ADHD is as unique as your thumbprint, I always say. How it shows up in one person is very unique to that individual. So your struggles are going to be, there's always like the common overlap stuff, right? The common threads between us that, make us similar, but exactly how it shows up and what needs the most help, what doesn't need the most help is going to be different for every individual. So being able to customize it and to be able to focus on what you want to focus on, I always want to, support our strengths and bolster our weaknesses by using our strengths. And you can do that, but you have to be able to customize. That's one of the things that I think is so cool about what you guys have created.
Well, wait a minute, Lynne. Are you saying that cookie cutter doesn't work?
It doesn't work, right? That's the whole foundation of what I do. Cookie cutter does not work. I always say, excuse the language, but I think it was from, I'm never good at remembering quotes. I always crack myself up when I start doing this. And then I'm like, oh, Lynne, you're doing it again. You're not going to get this right. But it's from the movie. I don't know if you remember the movie White Men Can't Jump with Woody Harrelson and Wesley Snipes. Woody Harrelson says a line that I always come back to when I'm thinking of this. He said, the sun even shines on a dog's ass sometimes, meaning sometimes you get lucky, right? Sometimes you try some cookie cutter something and a piece of it sticks because you've happened to fortunately, luckily land on something that's natural to you or something that works for how you process information. But it's very unusual for those of us with ADHD to be successful just plugging ourselves into something, anything, no matter whether it's a productivity time management tool or any other kind of approach.
That's a great, it's so funny. I'm going to remember that quote and I'm going to use it because it's perfect. But I use that movie when I talk about empathy, because there's a line where Rosie Perez's character says, I'm thirsty. And he jumps up to get her some water.
Yes.
And she gets mad at him. He says, what? I got you some water. And she said, sometimes I just want to hear you say, I too know what it is like to be thirsty. And that's another thing that we struggle with. But this is exactly right. When you come into a therapy appointment, first, it's been a while, or you just don't want to believe it, or you're told you're just an idiot, and if you had better discipline, you'd be better at this, and it wouldn't be an issue. So finally, you overcome all those stigmas, and you decide, I'm going to talk to somebody about this. Well, you call somebody's office, and it's a couple of weeks before you can coordinate your schedules and get in. Unless you get super lucky, it's a couple of weeks. Then you go in and you meet with them and you talk, but you go at their pace and you go at their rhythm.
Right.
And they have to check off different boxes, and that's all part of the process. You have to go through this process. But then they say, okay, well, you scored highest on this, so let's work on this. Well, that's not that big of a deal to me. Let's work on the things that are important to me, the things that are driving me crazy every day that maybe aren't a big deal to you. Not only that, I've picked the things I want to work on. But first, I go through this assessment process and I get instant feedback instead of waiting a month or 3 weeks or 2 months or however long it is. I get instant feedback that says, hey, this is how I've rated and this is where I've scored and this is what I need to do. And then I can see these are the areas, these are the strengths I have that I can use. Mm-hmm. But not only are they strengths that I can use, they're strengths that I can hone even further maybe.
Right.
You know, I have 2 left hands, maybe. I can't nail a nail in the wall very well. And I so got lucky that somebody appreciated that I'm a good talker. I could talk all day. So I was kind of nudged in that direction. So if I was a construction worker, I'd probably be in prison or something because I can't, it's just not something I can do. But so now you identify what these strengths are and you choose, okay, maybe I need some help with stress. I was rated really high on stress. So I'm going to use this meditation part of the app. And after a couple of weeks, I can reassess. I can do different things and see, is my stress going down? Is this intervention that I'm using helping? Because if not, why do I keep using it?
Right.
Let me try something else. Let me shift gears. Because what happens in the real world is you come to me, I throw something at the wall. You come back 2 weeks later, did it stick? If not, we got to do something else.
Right.
But it might have stuck on Tuesday and not on Thursday. So having that instant feedback in your moment of need, when you want it, when you're struggling, on your timeline, in your pocket, it's just, to me, it's exactly what we were looking for and what we wanted to do, because it's what I needed. It's what I wanted. And being able to personalize it and be present when you need it to be present, but it's not hard, because we all have, I was listening to a podcast earlier this morning with this guy who was writing about natural stuff versus unnatural stuff. And he said to the interviewer, I have a flip phone. It was like, what? You have a flip phone?
A foot thumb? Yeah.
Yeah. So, we all have smartphones. We all have the technology. We all have it right there at our fingertips. So why not use it in a way that helps to encourage and allow you to get the growth and the things that you need, so that you're not beating your head against the wall all the time, so that you're not getting yelled at, so you're not getting written up at work, so you're not getting kicked out of school, whatever issue it is that you're having, so.
And the being able to apply sort of technology to behavioral health is not something that's really done very often. I mean, that's one of the reasons why I wanted to talk with you, because it is so unusual. One of the things that when we talk about like executive function challenges and some of the other kinds of challenges that are really typical for those of us with ADHD, like there are some things you can do to improve your executive function challenges, but by and large, the thing that's going to help the most is if you externalize them. You find something outside of your brain that serves that same function. So like as a coach, I'm constantly working with clients on finding ways to use technology for to support poor memory, to support poor prioritization, to support poor decision making. And whether it's like an electronic tool or some paper tool or whatever, but having those tools that support your executive functions is an important part of managing ADHD. This takes that to the sort of the between the ears pieces, as I often like call it, the emotional piece, the stress management piece, the thinking piece, the, kind of all of that, the mind stuff that is, generally, I mean, we've all tried, probably most of us have tried like relaxation apps or stress management apps or meditation apps, and there are lots of them. But to have something that's geared to people with ADHD and something that you can customize, focus on what is impacting you the most, and have it in your pocket, that's a great way to accommodate the things that you struggle with in a healthy way. And it also makes, I mean, I don't know if you've seen the Netflix documentary Social Dilemma, just really all the kind of awful things that, kind of are an outcropping of having these devices on us all the time, right?
Yeah.
They can really be used for good things. They can really be supportive, but to make that shift, to use the technology in a way that's healthy and helpful, in a way that's helping you grow, in a way that's helping you develop, in a way that's helping you reinforce the strengths and start to make improvements in the weaknesses, is really important, not just so that you can keep up with social media and compare yourselves to other people and all those kind of horrible things that we use them for, not just to numb our minds and avoid the things that we don't want to do, but to really have a productive use, that really is, we always use this word, and I don't know of a better one because I don't like it, but in coaching, we talk about things that are moving you toward the life that you want for yourself. We call those things forwarding. There's probably a better word for that, but things that are forwarding, things that are moving you forward, moving you toward what you want in your life, your smartphone can be a big part of that if you're using it in a smart way.
Yeah, and that's part of that is finding that balance and
yes.
Not overdoing it. But I think I'm kind of unpacking all of that, what you just said, I think a lot of it is really important. But if you saw my Google Calendar, you would say that's an ADHD guy.
Yeah.
I have 19 different colors and different things on top of things. And I still screw up. I get notifications and I still screw up. And I do what you just talked about. I obsessively look at it.
Right.
And then I don't look at it for 10 minutes and I screwed up this morning. No big deal. It's not a major issue, but it was, oh no. But having it all in one place where you get push notifications, you get reminders, and you get to kind of choose the path. I think that's exactly what you were just talking about, so that we have the technology that gives us those little nudges. Because I use my Google Calendar as all of my notes, my Google Calendar and my email inbox. I use those as, this is what I need. This is my to-do list. And this is where I need to be and how I need to be there. And then I still have people that remind me, like my daughter, hey, where are you at? You're supposed to be here 10 minutes ago.
Right.
It's amazing how when it's important to us, we remember, but when it's important to somebody else, maybe we don't always remember. But yeah, having all of that stuff in that position, in that way, to make it easy for you to determine what's important for you. Sometimes I will pick up my phone to go do something and I don't remember what I was going to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like the opposite of, so like you were saying, these behavioral techniques, I don't remember the words you used, but we set up these external things in our lives as ADHD individuals to deal with those things. One of the things I do is I can't have any red notifications on my phone. Right. That's my OCD type issue. That's anxiety driven because that means I forgot something.
Right.
So I don't have to, but this is kind of feeds into that social dilemma you were just talking about. I'm constantly on here checking to clear those red things out. I got a new email server recently and it just keeps dumping emails for some reason. I can't get it to work right. So I had to turn notifications off because I was about to lose my mind.
Yeah.
But being able to sift through all the white noise versus what's important versus what you want to do.
Right.
We as ADHD individuals with ADHD, we have a tendency to get overwhelmed and overburdened, and then we just shut down, or we lash out, or we develop inappropriate coping.
Right.
And anything, just like the social dilemma, anything can be inappropriate coping.
Absolutely.
Running is a great thing. Meditation is a great thing. But if it interferes with other parts of your life,
Right,
then
right,
it becomes a
exactly.
negative thing, right?
Right, right.
So having that all there in a way that allows you to kind of customize it and put it in a way, this is what I want to focus on. But next week you might want to focus on something different. And there's little nudges. I don't know if this happens to you. It happens to me all the time. My in-laws actually call them Tron bumps. They named them after my wife because she kind of rides on them. Those little bumps on the side of the road the little ridges, when you start to drift, they go.
Yeah, we call them rumble strips, but yeah.
Well, that's what they are, right?
Yeah.
But we call them Tron bumps because it's named after my wife, because she likes to ride. But those are nudges. Those are little things there that are to nudge you to keep you safe.
Okay.
And this is kind of the idea about what we're trying to encapsulate, that small nudges fairly consistently over time, you're going to see those types of changes instead of trying to dig to China in one day.
Yes. Yes. And that's true for, I think it's not, for most of us with ADHD, that's not our natural go-to reflexive way that we want to handle things. We tend to be, I always say, like, we tend to be great sprinters and not so great at the marathon. So we tend to go all in and hyper focus and all of that. But anytime you're making changes that you want to make last for the long haul, slow and steady is going to be the thing that wins the race. And that's for a lot of my clients, we've got to do some sort of reprogramming on that, and then find ways to keep the juice going for the long haul, because that, that sort of instinctual, reflexive, head first, feet first, all in way we do things, is generally not not what works best for the long haul. So that's, the nudges to keep you going, the nudges to keep you on track. Right. And that's another sort of, as we talk about it, executive functions, that's another way to externalize your difficulty with staying focused on something, your difficulty with staying motivated, your difficulty with remembering, and all of that. So it's, having those supports for yourself that keep you moving in the direction you want to move it's so important. So I hope our listeners are getting some good ideas from this, getting some good insights from this. Check out, Tommy's website and Tommy's app. Tommy, do you have anything that you want to kind of last words or last thoughts for our listeners, and then tell them again, where they can learn more?
Yeah, sure. First of all, thank you, Lynn, for all the things that you're doing. And thanks for having me. I really appreciate the opportunity to share a little bit about my experiences of what we're doing. But chooseesteem.com is where you can find it. It's in the app store. If you just on Apple, if you just search for Esteem, then it'll be there. We're not in Android yet. We're working on it. It just takes time. Mm-hmm. But the thing that I like to tell people the most, I think one of the things that we forget the most often, is to be kind to yourself. We tend to beat ourselves up and hold ourselves up to this standard of, I should do better. Or I was thinking about it when you were talking about the sprint versus the marathon. How frustrating is it when you sprint and then you collapse and you're angry with yourself because you're not able to do the marathon? Right. The tortoise, the slow and steady passes you, and I'm lazy, I'm stupid, I messed up. But we wouldn't say that to a friend, or we wouldn't say that to one of our children, or we wouldn't say that to a colleague when they were doing the same thing. And so it's kind of an interesting thing when I hear myself say this, because I think we should treat ourselves the way we treat other people. Mm-hmm. And I know it's often said the other way around, but we're very hard on ourselves, especially individuals who struggle with ADHD or any behavioral health disorder. I should have done better. I'm stupid. I'm ugly, whatever the case may be. So I would just say that, and take some time to appreciate that it's okay. And you're who you are. I don't want to be not ADHD. I like that I can do 47 different things at once. Finish most of them, but hey.
There are absolutely some upsides. There are lots of downsides too, but learning how to live well with your own natural strengths and tendencies and who you are. And I think that's a huge point that we all need to remember a lot more of, is to give ourselves credit where credit's due, and, give yourself some grace, be a little nicer to yourself. Right. It's, that's one of the things that I know you work on a lot with clients. I work on a lot with clients, but that, the voice that's telling you you're not good enough is a big part of what is holding us back and keeping these things that we're working on from really being able to stick for us for the long haul. So Thanks so much, Tommy. I appreciate your time here today. I appreciate you joining us, and I really know our listeners are gonna benefit from this conversation today as well.
Thanks, Lynn. I'd come back anytime.
Oh, my pleasure. Anytime. I'd love to have you again. Thanks for listening, guys. If you found this helpful, if you've ever found the podcast helpful, please don't hesitate to check us out on iTunes and leave us a review. The more people who leave us reviews, the more easy it is for people to find us. So that's the whole goal of this, is to be able to touch as many people as we can and to help you guys remember that you're not alone, right? So I appreciate your attention as always, and we'll catch you next time. Thank you. Thanks for listening. And thanks again, Tommy.